Hi, I'm Hamdan and you're tuned into Nightline, the top stories. Full report on Lumut helicopter crash to be published on Thursday. And 20 men charged with being members of organised crime group. Good morning. The full report on the Royal Malaysian Navy RMN helicopter crash in Lumut on April 23rd will be released on Thursday. Communications Minister Fahmi, who is also the Unity Government spokesman, said that Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin informed the Cabinet meeting on Wednesday about the status of the full report on the crash.
Menteri Pertahanan telah memaklumkan kepada Jemaah Menteri status terkini laporan penuh nahas helikopter di Lumut. Beliau memaklumkan bahawa laporan tersebut telah siap dan akan diterbitkan esok.
Fahmi spoke to the media after the cabinet meeting in Putrajaya. In the April 23rd tragedy, 7 RMN personnel in a HOM AW139 and 3 more in a Fennec were killed when the helicopters crashed while rehearsing for RMN's 90th anniversary parade at the RMN base in Lumut. Following that, a board of inquiry was set up to identify the cause of the crash. The interim report on the accident released on May 9th confirmed that the health status of all the aircrew involved in the crash was good enough to operate the aircraft and that the crew's flight qualifications were still valid and not expired. The board of inquiry also found that the HOM AW139 and Fennec were confirmed to be airworthy on the day of the incident. Meanwhile, Fahmi said the Cabinet was informed on Wednesday that there might be a need for minor amendments to existing laws to resolve the parallel pathway issue. The Communications Minister said this after Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Zamri Abdul Kadir provided feedback on the matter at the Cabinet meeting, with the Attorney General's Chambers also offering its legal perspective.
Jemaah Menteri telah dimaklumkan bahawa perlu sedikit pindaan kepada undang-undang sedia ada dan ini akan dibawa ke mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri insya-Allah minggu depan. Jadi belum diputuskan tapi ada update dan kertas yang dimaksudkan akan dibawa minggu depan.
The parallel pathway issue was thrust into the spotlight when the Malaysian Medical Association MMA requested University Technology MARA UiTM to allow the admission of non-Bumiputra medical officers who wish to receive specialized training in cardiothoracic surgery, just as the institution accepts international students. On Monday, Zamri said there was an urgent need for problems surrounding the parallel pathway program to be quickly resolved, as the people needed the services of medical specialists. UiTM is the only local university offering the parallel pathway program in collaboration with the National Heart Institute (IJN) in the field of cardiothoracic surgery. The country's largest media conglomerate, Media Prima Berhad (MPB), achieved a 9-month revenue of 650.9 million ringgit amid cutbacks in spending from several major advertisers, while the group recorded a profit after tax of 27.9 million ringgit through improved operational efficiencies, cost optimizations, and increase in other operating income. For the third quarter ended March 31st, 2024, Media Prima recorded a revenue of 213.2 million ringgit and a profit after tax of 1.9 million ringgit. According to Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Seri Dr. Syed Hussein Al-Junaid, the media industry is facing economic uncertainty and political unrest at the global level. However, he said the group is committed to implement strategies to generate growth for the future. This is through a comprehensive 3-year business plan to continue to generate unrivaled value for audiences and advertisers based on the strength of the brand. Meanwhile, Media Prima Group Managing Director Rafiq Razali said the performance achieved by the group in this time of global uncertainty proves the ability to remain competitive. He said this ability is the result of Media Prima's continuous efforts to improve the efficiency of internal procedures, further strengthening the media platform's position by providing premium content inventory and generating new revenue opportunities. The group also recognizes the importance of the local advertising landscape and will continue to consider the importance of operations and cost management. Media Prima's continued dominance in broadcasting, especially with Hot FM retaining its position as the top Malay commercial radio brand with over 3.8 million listeners, reinforces the group's strong market position among audiences. Molek FM's increased listenership in Pahang, Terengganu and Kelantan further solidifies Media Prima's broad reach and digital strength, positioning the group for continued growth. In a series of raids under Op 5, the Bukit Aman Criminal Investigation Department CID has arrested 21 members of organised crime groups from 5 secret societies. Federal CID Director Datuk Seri Muhammad Shuhaili Muhammad Zain said that the suspects, aged between 26 and 51, were apprehended in Johor, Pahang and Selangor from May 3rd onwards.
So, hasil siasatan mendedahkan bahawa mereka ini semua adalah ahli kongsi gelap daripada geng 08, 18, 21, 24 dan 36 yang bergiat aktif di beberapa kawasan di negeri Selangor dan terlibat dalam aktiviti pengedaran dadah, jenayah kekerasan seperti pembunuhan, pemerasan dan mendatangkan cedera dan juga khianat dengan api. Apa yang kita kenal pasti daripada hasil soal siasat dan siasatan, mereka ini telah mula beraktif ataupun mula aktif sejak tahun 2019.
20 members were charged in the Klang Sessions Court on Wednesday for their membership in organised crime since 5 years ago. Meanwhile, another member could not be charged as he is receiving treatment at the National Heart Institute. All the 20 accused nodded that they understood the charges before Judge Ahmed Faizah Yahya. No plea was recorded as the case, according to the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 SOSMA, is under the jurisdiction of the High Court. It was also understood that the modus operandi of the 5 criminal groups had changed from before. Currently, they no longer perform oath-taking ceremonies like other secret societies, but instead issue task assignments to each member. Efforts are being made to trace the remaining members of the group. In Perak, police arrested 2 of 5 men who were believed to be involved in an armed brawl that broke out at an internet cafe in Buntung, Ipoh on Monday. Both suspects were nabbed in less than 24 hours after the 10:15 p.m. incident. A nearly 2-minute closed-circuit television CCTV footage showing a group of men attacking 2 people with knives and helmets at the internet cafe also went viral on social media. Ipoh Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Abang Zainal Abidin Abang Ahmed, in a statement, said the arrest was made following a police report lodged from one of the victims, a 24-year-old man. The complainant and his 18-year-old friend were reportedly playing games at the premises when they were attacked. The victim sustained knife wounds to his arm and stomach, while his friend was also seriously injured. The motive for the incident has yet to be determined. Authorities are investigating the case under the Penal Code for possessing weapons while rioting. 3 cars were damaged when a tree fell on them during a storm which was accompanied by strong winds in Bukit Sentosa, Hulu Selangor on Wednesday afternoon. Selangor Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Director of Operations Ahmad Mukhlis Mokhtar said the vehicles were all parked at the Sri Kamboja apartments when the incident occurred. In a statement, Mukhlis said the department was alerted at 4:59 p.m. and immediately dispatched 7 firemen as well as a fire engine from the Bukit Sentosa fire station to the scene. Upon arrival, the team found that the tree had fallen on top of 2 Perodua Myvis and a Proton Wira in the parking area. Fortunately, there were no casualties. The firefighters then carried out work to remove the uprooted tree. Since the beginning of the month, heavy storms and strong winds have led to several incidents of fallen trees. The worst incident occurred on May 7th, when a large tree at the site of Jalan Sultan Ismail in Kuala Lumpur came crashing down onto 17 vehicles, killing 1 person and injuring another. We're going for a short break. When we return, North Korea sends balloons filled with trash waste into South.
Get ready, ladies. It's time to shatter the stereotype. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smiles. This talk show is all about you. Catch Women Talk every Saturdays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream also on Tonton.
Inilah dia generasi FOMO ni, fear of missing out. Dia takut ketinggalan.
Mestilah. Probiotik dan prebiotik ketahui apakah fungsinya pada badan kita.
AI dari hobi biasa menjadi pendapatan yang sangat lumayan.
Jenayah kecurian kereta, waspada dan ambil tahu.
Settle Murphy ketahui dasar peluang kedua.
Semua ini di MHI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat.
Juga di aplikasi Tonton.
Hanya di TV3.
Nak cari tempat untuk OOTD? Persembahan cahaya interaktif serius boleh buat gambar korang seleh habis. Raikan ulang tahun ke-40 TV3 dengan keajaiban pameran seni digital Immersio Inspirasi Generasi by TV3 dari 20 Mei hingga 9 Jun di Museum Telekom Kuala Lumpur. Jom, ajak family, kawan dan partner sekali, okey? Selamat Hari TV3. #Inspirasi Generasi. Kami sentiasa bersamamu.
Welcome back. On to the foreign front. Preliminary findings of an investigation into a Singapore Airlines flight hit by severe turbulence last week showed a rapid change in gravitational force, or G, and a 54-meter altitude drop had caused the injuries. Singapore's Transport Ministry on Wednesday said the aircraft experienced a rapid change in G that likely resulted in the occupants who were not belted up to become airborne. It added the vertical acceleration changed from negative 1.5 G to positive 1.5 G within 4 seconds, resulting in the occupants who were airborne to fall back down. The rapid changes in G over the 4.6 seconds duration resulted in an altitude drop of 54 meters from 11,388 meters to 11,333 meters. On May 21st, one passenger died of a suspected heart attack and dozens were injured after Singapore Airline flight SQ321 flying from London to Singapore encountered extreme turbulence while flying over Myanmar. The plane, which was carrying 211 passengers and 18 crew, then diverted to Bangkok for an emergency landing. Thailand's Attorney General will indict former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra to return home last year after 15 years in exile for allegedly insulting the monarchy. A spokesman for the Attorney General on Wednesday said the 74-year-old, who would be summoned to appear in court on June 18th to answer charges under the country's lèse majesté law, one of the strictest in the world. The complaint, lodged by the royalist military that ousted the government of his sister, Yingluck Shinawatra, had stemmed from an interview the influential tycoon gave to foreign media in 2015. Thaksin's lawyer, Winrat Montri, said a comprehensive defence had been prepared and his client would seek bail. The former leader would be the highest profile case among more than 270 prosecutions in recent years, under the controversial law, which carries a maximum jail term of 15 years for each perceived insult of the royal family. North Korea has dropped at least 260 balloons carrying rubbish and feces across the heavily fortified border to South Korea on Wednesday, prompting authorities to warn its residents to stay indoors. South Korea's Military Explosives Ordnance Unit and Chemical and Biological Warfare Response Team were deployed to inspect and collect the objects, and an alert was issued warning residents to keep away and report any sightings to authorities. The balloons have been found in 8 of 9 provinces in South Korea, and the military was investigating whether there were any North Korean propaganda leaflets in the balloons. The recent incident comes days after North Korea said it would retaliate against the frequent scattering of leaflets and other rubbish in border areas by activists in the south. Moving on, the Zionist regime continued its strikes in the southern Gaza city of Rafah on Wednesday, killing at least 75 Palestinians and injuring 284 in the past 24 hours. Israeli air raids and artillery shelling have killed at least 15 Palestinians since this morning as Zionist tanks moved into the heart of Rafah. Airstrikes had also targeted various parts of the city, including the vicinity of the Badr camp and the Zorab roundabout west of the city. In northern Gaza, tanks shelled several neighborhoods and forces marched deeper in Jabalia, with residents saying large residential districts were destroyed by the Zionists. Despite these, the Zionist regime said fighting in Gaza would continue throughout 2024, signaling that Israel was not ready to end the war as demanded by Hamas. Jia concedes walkover in Singapore Open. Sports right after this breather.
Inilah dia generasi FOMO ni, fear of missing out. Dia takut ketinggalan.
Mestilah. Probiotik dan prebiotik ketahui apakah fungsinya pada badan kita.
AI dari hobi biasa menjadi pendapatan yang sangat lumayan.
Jenayah kecurian kereta, waspada dan ambil tahu.
Serta Muflis ketahui dasar peluang kedua.
Semua ini di MHI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat.
Juga di aplikasi tonton.
Hanya di TV3.
Nak cari tempat untuk OOTD? Persembahan cahaya interaktif serius boleh buat gambar korang seleh habis. Raikan ulang tahun ke-40 TV3 dengan keajaiban pameran seni digital Immersio Inspirasi Generasi by TV3 dari 20 Mei hingga 9 Jun di Museum Telekom Kuala Lumpur. Jom, ajak family, kawan dan partner sekali, okey? Selamat Hari TV3! #Inspirasi Generasi. Kami sentiasa bersamamu.
Get ready, ladies. It's time to shatter the stereotypes. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smiles. This talk show is all about you. Catch Women Talk every Saturdays at 5 p.m. on TV3. Stream also on Tonton.
We're back with sports. Badminton, the 2024 Singapore Open. National men's singles shuttler Li Zijia has withdrawn from the tournament due to hamstring injuries suffered after participating in 2 consecutive tournaments. In a statement on Wednesday, the world number 9 said the difficult decision was made after receiving medical advice not to participate in the Super 750 Championship to focus on recovery. It was understood that Zijia suffered the injuries after participating in the Thailand Open and Malaysia Masters. The withdrawal saw Anthony Sinisuka Ginting of Indonesia move to the second round and will meet another national men's shuttler Leong Junhao. In the men's doubles event, country's top pair Aaron Chia and So Woo-yik survived an early scare as they clinched a hard-fought 22-20, 21-17 win over Taiwan's Chang Ko-chi and Po Li Wei. The world number 4 duo will meet Liu Yu-chen, Zhu Xuanyi of China next. Meanwhile, national mixed doubles Goh Sun-hwat, Shavan Jamilai only took 33 minutes to defeat B. Sumit Reddy, Siki Reddy from India, 21-18 and 21-19. The newly crowned Malaysian Masters champions will next meet world number 1 Zheng Ziwei Huang Yationg of China in the second round. On to tennis, the 2024 Roland Garros defending champion Novak Djokovic began his quest for a record-extending 25th Grand Slam title with a straight-set win over Pierre-Hugues Herbert in the first round on Wednesday. The world number one shrugged off doubts about the state of his game by dispatching the French wildcard 6-4, 7-6, 6-4 in 2 hours and 31 minutes. Three-time Roland Garros champion Djokovic will face Spain's Roberto Carballes Baena in round 2. The next highest-seeded player in action was two-time finalist Casper Ruud, and the Norwegian got off to a stellar start with a 6-3, 6-4, 6-3 win over Brazilian qualifier Felipe Meligeni Alves. The world number 7's next opponent will be Spaniard Alejandro Davidovich Fokina. In another action, 13th-seeded Holger Rune of Denmark defeated Great Britain's Daniel Evans 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 in more than 2 hours. Next up, the world number 13 will battle Italian Flavio Cobolli for a place in the third round. In the women's category, 19th-seeded Victoria Azarenka advanced to the second round after thrashing Argentinian Nadia Podoroska 6-1, 6-love. The 34-year-old Belarusian will face teenager Mira Andreeva next. In another action, Daria Kasatsina made it safely through to the second round with a 7-5, 6-1 victory over Magdalena Frech of Poland. The Russian is set to battle American Peyton Stearns next. Earlier, world number 2 Aryna Sabalenka launched her bid for a maiden Roland Garros title with a dominant 6-1, 6-2 win over Russian teenager Erika Andreeva. Next up, the 26-year-old Belarusian who successfully defended her Australian Open title earlier this year will face Moyuka Ujichima of Japan in the second round. Coming up next, federal court upholds death sentence of UUM graduate's murder. Don't go away.
Nak cari tempat untuk OOTD? Persembahan cahaya interaktif serius boleh buat gambar korang seleh habis. Raikan ulang tahun ke-40 TV3 dengan keajaiban pameran seni digital Immersio Inspirasi Generasi by TV3 dari 20 Mei hingga 9 Jun di Museum Telekom Kuala Lumpur. Jom, ajak family, kawan dan partner sekali, okey? Selamat Hari TV3! #Inspirasi Generasi. Kami sentiasa bersamamu.
Sananana.
Inilah dia generasi FOMO ni, fear of missing out. Dia takut ketinggalan.
Mestilah. Probiotik dan prebiotik ketahui apakah fungsinya pada badan kita.
AI dari hobi biasa menjadi pendapatan yang sangat lumayan.
Jenayah kecurian kereta, waspada dan ambil tahu.
Serta Muflis ketahui dasar peluang kedua.
Semua ini di MHI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat.
Juga di aplikasi tonton.
Hanya di TV3.
Kekal cakna, kekal sihat. Hello Doktor merungkai pelbagai persoalan kesihatan anda.
Penyakit kronik, pemakanan, kesihatan mental, semuanya demi kesejahteraan anda.
Setiap minggu bersama tenaga pakar kesihatan terbaik Malaysia, segalanya terjawab dalam Hello Doktor setiap Ahad
5.30 petang di TV3
dan stream juga melalui tonton.
Thanks for staying with us. The federal court on Wednesday upheld the death sentence imposed on businessman Shahril Jaafar, who was convicted with the murder of a female marketing executive near Kelab Cinta Sayang in Sungai Petani Kedah 18 years ago. A three-man panel led by Judge Dato' Harminder Singh Dhaliwal unanimously rejected Shahril's review application. Harminder said the application was dismissed and the death sentence maintained, noting that the court is always alive to compassion and mercy. But this was an exceptional case with exceptional facts. The victim of the murder suffered with exceptional violence. Harminder said that she was raped, sodomized, tortured and then killed. The killing had alarmed the public and caused public uproar. As such, he said the court upheld the death sentence imposed on the 43-year-old Shahril. On August 9, 2015, the Alor Star High Court in Kedah sentenced Shahril to death after he was found guilty of the murder of 24-year-old Chi Gai-yap at the club in Taman Ria Jaya, Sungai Petani between 5:30 p.m. on January 14th and 3:05 a.m. on January 15th, 2006. Chi, a marketing executive at a factory, had gone for a jog with one of her sisters at the club at around 5:30 p.m. on January 14th, 2006, before she went missing. Her body was found with multiple stab wounds by the roadside in a housing estate in Taman Ria Jaya near the club in the wee hours the next day. The Perak Customs Department raided a tyre shop in Pulau Pinang and discovered 39 units of motorcycles and liquor believed to be untaxed. Its director, Dr. Abdul Ghaffar Muhammad, said the raid was carried out on May 13th at about 3:30 p.m. in Nibung Tebal. Checks found 39 motorcycles without customs approval stamps from China worth over 1 million ringgit. Customs officers also discovered 1,325 litres of untaxed liquor worth about 356,000 ringgit. It was reported that the 30-year-old owner of the premises has been held for questioning. Initial investigations revealed the individual does not have an import permit for the motorcycles. The motorcycles were found to have been kept at the premises for the past 3 years. The case was being investigated under the Customs Act 1967 for untaxed goods and under the Excise Act 1976 for selling liquor without a license. Moving on, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, has thwarted an attempt by a syndicate to smuggle out 51 sacks of dried turtle meat in Kudat, Sabah. Authorities believe that the syndicate is responsible for the deaths of almost 1,000 turtles. Meat from the endangered species weighing 765 kilograms was seized from a boat at 10:27 p.m. along the coastline some 0.5 nautical miles northeast of Kampung Tajau Laut on Tuesday. The enforcement team also seized 19 sacks of sea cucumbers. All the items were estimated to be worth a total 500,000 ringgit. The syndicate members managed to evade arrest and escape into a nearby shallow area after abandoning their vessel upon realizing the presence of the MMEA patrol boat. The case is being investigated under the Wildlife Conservation Enactment for attempting to smuggle meat from endangered species. And lastly, still in Sabah, police arrested an Indonesian man and seized 6 plastic packets containing 4.57 kilograms of shabu hidden in 4 bags at the Old Harbour Public Jetty in Tawau at 12:30 p.m. on Monday. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Jasmine Hussein said the 25-year-old farm labourer is believed to have obtained the drugs worth 274,320 ringgit that was sent to Tawau via land route and said to be smuggled to a neighbouring country. According to Jasmine, the suspect's modus operandi is to hide the drugs. In detergent powder bags to avoid detection by authorities. The police are currently tracking down other members of the drug syndicate. The suspect does not have any past criminal records and also tested negative for drugs. He has been remanded for 7 days until June 4th to assist in the investigation under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Boat race held in Beijing, China, where 27 teams fought through the waves and raced to greet the upcoming Dragon Boat Festival. With that, I'm Hamdan. Thanks for tuning in and take care.